Broadcasting to you on WNN 1470 AM and TrentoVision.tv from the world's leading think tank laboratory, buried deep in an undisclosed building in hostile territory where evil and corruption is exposed. You're about to enter the Tom Trento Show.
All hands man your battle station.
Tom Trento heads United West, a group that says it defends Western civilization against the onslaught of Islam.
I was scheduled to speak around 10 a.m. in the morning. And around 6 or 7, I got up in my hotel room, woke up. I was in the same hotel that I would be speaking in a couple of hours, downstairs in one of the conference rooms, put the news on, and saw one of those breaking news moments that just hit you right in the gut. The news was breaking that there had been a serious crash, serious battle, serious something. The fog of war makes the initial moments, initial hours confused. And as the information came in rather quickly, story got somewhat sorted out that a Chinook helicopter with over 30 Americans, special forces, was shot down in Afghanistan, in the Tangi River Valley in the Wardunk province, a serious stronghold for the Taliban. And I said, this is not good. And as the reports continued for the next hour or so, I went downstairs to speak, a couple of hundred people at a typical Tea Party patriotic meeting. And I said, look, we just need to be praying for the families because we just suffered a unbelievable loss of special operators. And apart from the fact that these are men who have taken the oath to defend the United States, and when you reach the top tier level of special operators, you're in 10 years, you've been deployed all over the world, you have, this country has invested literally millions of dollars, you are a fine-tuned war machine, and for 30 to go down, and we did not know at that point who these folks were, except that they were special operators, as Hamid Karzai was holding a press conference saying, yes, American Special Forces were shot down earlier this morning, which is completely bizarre that that information was released. But I stood in front of the group and said, we need to be just praying for the families. Little did I know at that moment, Saturday morning, August 6th, 2011, that in the next year, the next 2 years, myself and our organization, the United West, would be deeply, deeply involved with several family members, one in particular who lost a son that day. And little did we know that we would be extremely deeply involved in the task of uncovering the truth of what really occurred on the shoot down on August 6, 2011, of call sign Extortion 17. That was the call sign for the Chinook helicopter. And needless to say, our lives here at the United West have been dramatically impacted by some of the family members we've grown close to, in particular the Vaughns from South Florida, Billy and Karen Vaughn and their family, and other members we met subsequently. There's another family over on the West Coast, the Bill family, lost a son. Then we found out later that these were members of the elite Navy SEALs, but we found out even more, and we should never have found any of this out. These folks were members of SEAL Team 6, top tier. And we found out even more information. Not only are they members of the SEALs, of SEAL Team 6, but SEAL Team 6, which has 200 or 300 warriors, is divided into different teams. And there's a color designation for each team. Well, this color designation, which we know, but we don't need to publicize that, this color designation was the same color designation of the team that killed 90 days earlier Osama bin Laden. So the questions have come up. Was this payback by the Taliban? What's going on? Well, we're still in the middle of that, but today we just want to pause for a few moments and discuss what took place, what's going on, what needs to happen. Because in the world of naval special warfare, which came out of World War II with the UDT, underwater demolition teams, there has never been, up to August 6, 2011, and subsequently up to now, there has never been such a large loss of naval special warfare life. 17 members of SEAL Team 6, 13 other Americans, all special operators, other branches, and then 8 members of the Afghan National Army. That's an issue in and of itself. So today's the 2-year anniversary, and we ask all of our listeners out there on WNN 1470 on the radio side, all of our viewers on TrentoVision.tv, on the UnitedWest.org, on TeaPartyCommunity.com. We ask you to remember the Extortion 17, SEAL Team 6, 17 men that died, the other 13 special operators that died, pilots, navigators, and one dog named, I forgot the dog's name, but one dog died in that too, a SEAL dog. So it's been a rough couple of years when you grow close to some of the family members, but we're committed to, and I'm going to open this up in a second, we're committed to finding out the truth and uncovering what we think is a government cover-up on this. Hi, everybody. Tom Trento here on August 7th. Okay, now let me explain that. Because of a couple of reasons where I had to speak on Tuesday night, we had to shoot a show early. But this show we're shooting right now, which you're seeing on Wednesday, the 7th of August, was actually shot on Tuesday, the 6th of August, the exact 2-year anniversary of Extortion 17. So this is our slight homage to these unique individuals.
It doesn't seem like 2 years.
Do you believe that?
I know.
I know.
It really does seem like just like yesterday. I mean, you have those kind of deja vu. Well, not deja vu, but it just happened. It just seems like we just met the Bonds like a week ago, and it's crazy. That's been 2 years.
And have these been a jam-packed 2 years or what? I mean, when I finished speaking at that event, that was in DeLand, Florida.
Right.
That was that was August 6th, obviously. Well, the memorial service for Aaron Vaughn, if we have his picture, we can put that up. Yeah. The memorial service for Aaron Vaughn was the 22nd of August down in Martin County, a couple hours south of DeLand, which is up a little bit north of Daytona, for the geography folks out there. And I live, and our studio is about an hour and a half south. Yeah, there's a picture of Aaron and his wife. I live about an hour and a half south of where the memorial service was going to be at Martin County High School. So I decided, the story just touched me. The parents, Billy and Karen, were on the news. The grandmother was on the news. And they just drew a picture of Aaron as the kind of guy that every parent would be proud of, every American should be proud of. He was an all-around American boy and had a vision to be a SEAL all his life, overcame physical disabilities, no ACL in his knee to get to the SEAL Team 6. He was a very serious Christian, expressed his faith openly, consistently, and saw and understood. He understood Islamic jihad. He knew this was a battle between good and evil. And he was willing to put his life on the line to fight and defend America. So I went to the memorial service, 2,000 people. And, our United West folks here have been involved with the SEALs on different occasions for many years. I have never seen so many SEALs together in one place off a base.
Right.
Must have been 18 or 20 of them, all in their dress blues, SEAL Team 6 guys. And it was an amazing sight, and this whole event. And then very quickly, we had the next event, or the next unique situation in this process was President Obama pulling out of Iraq. Remember that at the end of 2011?
Right.
He said, we're done. We're out of there. And he fumbled around and mishandled the whole Iraq situation just to fulfill some sort of bogus campaign promise to people that couldn't care less about anything we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
So he, in a hurried fashion, pulled the troops out, blew an opportunity to have a base there in the Middle East. Well, what we did, the United West, we put an event on in January 2012
Right.
and said that we're going to was it 2012? Yeah, it had to be 2012.
Yeah.
2012 to salute the military. And we did that up in Tallahassee, Florida. And we had General Jerry Boykin. We had Lieutenant Colonel Rich Swire. We had Alan West, who couldn't make it that day but sent us a video.
Right.
And we placed the call to Billy Vaughn, and he happened to be
Right
moving in
there.
that area on a job. Billy came up and spoke and just wowed everybody with his heartfelt. We ought to play that short speech of his on one of our shows sometimes. This would have been a great day to do it.
They're both so compelling
Both
as
of them.
speakers, whether they're speaking to a large group of people or they're doing a television or a radio interview or just having a discussion with a small group of people. So articulate, so obviously full of grief, but passion for their family, their
And that
country, the
comes
SEALs
through.
community. You cannot listen to this couple and not be touched by what they have experienced, by their family, by their son.
That was amazing. And
Yeah.
when Billy spoke up there, he basically related the story of a father and son growing up together, and then of this horrendous wartime event. And your heart obviously bled, and your eyes teared. But there was a unique moment at the beginning of that. Remember that?
I remember it just like yesterday because I almost had a similar event.
Oh, this was really weird. When we were getting organized in Tallahassee, we were in the old Capitol building, the historic, beautiful
Right.
Capitol building, not the goofy, whatever that
Yeah,
thing
what is that?
now. Yeah, and we had a bunch of people there putting up the tables and where everything was going to be in the banners, and we had invited several people to speak. Well, Billy Vaughn had pulled up into Tallahassee and made his way into the old Capitol. And that's when I met him for the first time. I had spoken to him several times. Pulled up, and just a few minutes earlier, I had spoken at length with another very good friend of ours who lives in Florida and agreed to come over and speak, and that's David Beamer.
Right.
Right.
And David Beamer lost his son to Islamic Jihad when?
9/11.
Yeah, he was on Flight 91, and Todd Beamer was the guy that
Let's roll.
famously yelled
Yeah.
out, "Let's roll," with the food cart going down and smashing into the jihadis and eventually driving the plane into Shanksville, Pennsylvania, right into the ground and not hitting the Capitol or the White
Right.
House. And David, since 9/11, has been speaking and sharing his story. Well, he was there. Well, let me see if I can get through this here. When Billy walked in, it hit me that both of these gentlemen lost their sons to Islamic Muslim jihadis.
Right.
One in the beginning, and one at
They're like
just now.
bookends almost of the same event.
Same event. So I said to Billy, after we met and exchanged hellos, I said, Billy, I want you to meet that guy over there. He says, who is that? I said, that's David Beamer, Todd Beamer's father. He goes,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He said,
I'm
Aaron.
getting,
I know. He said, Aaron was highly motivated by the heroism of Todd Beamer to go into the SEALs and to become a fighting Navy SEAL. I said, oh God. I said, okay. And I introduced the two of them, and I couldn't even get through, hi, Billy, meet David.
Right.
I just started tearing, and I had to walk away. I cried for 20 minutes, while these two guys
Right.
spoke. Just history was right there, and the tragedy of war. And the sad part is the lessons we should have learned from 9/11 and applied to fighting and defeating and killing and destroying an enemy that's dedicated to our destruction. We have not learned, and all of these SEALs that died should not have died if the United States government was prosecuting a war to fight to win. And we knew that back then, and we know it now more after 2 years of investigation and research into Extortion 17.
It's not just that they haven't learned the lessons. They've deliberately learned the wrong thing, and they're trying to convince the rest of us to go along with it.
Go along with it.
A lie. They're perpetuating a lie.
And they're right now on your screen. If you're watching at 18 minutes after 5 o'clock, we're rolling some B-roll. You can see some of the SEAL Team 6 photographs, some of the memorials, just some of the information, a picture of Aaron Vaughn, a picture of all 30 of the Americans. And we had from there, the next event that we should tell everybody. And
Well, I
then
do have a
then we'll
1
jump.
minute, the promo for the,
I was going to say the
For
press,
saluting
the
our
press
military.
conference.
Oh, do you?
yeah, actually.
Oh,
I-
All right, let's
Okay,
show
good.
that. Then we'll show them the next event that took place and how we worked our way right to Benghazi.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
On September 11, 2001, the United States was suddenly and ruthlessly attacked by 19 Sharia-compliant Muslims, killing nearly 3,000 innocent men, women, and children. Since 9/11, over 18,000 additional attacks have been perpetrated by Islamic terrorists worldwide, resulting in over 10,000 American soldiers' deaths and 30,000 critically wounded. All Americans owe a great debt of gratitude to these selfless warriors. On January 10th, join with the UnitedWest.org General Jerry Boykin, former commander of Delta Force, David Beamer, father of Todd Beamer, Flight 93, Congressman Alan West, and a host of other patriotic speakers for Saluting Our Military at the historic State Capitol building in Tallahassee, Florida. Saluting Our Military is hosted by the UnitedWest.org and sponsored in part by Budweiser, Savannah Engraving, Big Voices Media, Sarasota Raps, and The Dr. Rich Show.
Yeah, that was
The
a-
Dr.
that's
Rich
pretty
Show.
good.
yeah.
Dr. Rich is up there with Budweiser. All right. Watchdog Rich. WatchdogWire.com. He did a very nice article today.
Yeah, I'm
Today
looking
is
at it right
August
right
6th.
now. I have it on my screen.
Yeah, he and the Vaughns became very close. Well, that was our promotional for our event up in Tallahassee, which was in January. Then a month later, we went to Israel, the United West,
Right.
and in a bizarre manner,
List of whatever, yeah.
where donors came out of nowhere and said, the Vaughns should go. Billy and Karen Vaughn wound up coming to Israel with us for 2 weeks.
Right.
And what a trip that was for us and for them and for changing all of our lives.
It was the first time I've ever been to Israel, and it was such a, honor having the Vaughns there, and I think it actually helped bridge, for their healing process. I think it was actually a very good, they wanted to get into the fight right after they went into Israel, and they went right from
That's a good point.
0 to jihad, if you will, to
The good jihad.
to good jihad, to fighting the fight. And I think it's been a really great match for them because they're just terrific people. And
Well, what else happened there in Israel? The briefing was with members of the IDF, Israeli
Right.
Defense Force, the National Police,
right.
and some other groups, and
Not just some wingdings out there. These
are serious
the
stuff.
person we did a tour with, as far as with the IDF, was the same person who headed up Obama's security detail over in Israel on the Israeli
Just
Peace Force.
recently, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Mickey.
but the point is that all of these people defending Israel knew about Extortion 17.
Right.
Everybody worldwide knew about that. That's in the war business.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting. If they weren't given a heads up, some of the IDF people, that the Vaughns were with us, when we told them, they went, "Oh my God, come in here!" And
Right.
it was like a special meeting, because you never get over these kinds of wounds, but the wounds were very open and sore just a few months afterwards. That's how
Right.
quickly we went. So they were well received. And then you remember that the group that deals in Israel with the victims of Islamic terrorism.
Yes.
One family, I think it's
One
called
family,
One
yeah,
Family.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
They made a special exemption. They only honor those who have died by Islamic Jihad in Israel.
Right.
They made a special exemption to bring the Fawns in as part of their one family, because their son died fighting Islamic Jihad in theater.
The only American that I know of to this day that has been brought into that organization. It's a pretty big organization, too.
big organization.
You
Yeah,
got
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
it's a
that's the
club
sad
that
part.
has too many members.
Well, listen to this. I mean, we're having dinner in this small room with maybe 30 of the leaders or so, and they had a
Right,
couple
right.
of speakers. And that's when they honored the Vaughns. And then an 18-year-old kid gets up there to speak at the podium. And did he speak English? I don't think.
Yes, yes.
Did he speak English? I think a translator. But he gets up there to speak, and by now there's not a dry eye in the place with the Vaughns and
Right.
all that. And then this kid gets up there, and he's sitting at the table, and they said, whatever his name was, he's going to speak next, and he hobbles up on crutches on one leg. His leg is missing from the knee down. And he goes and tells the story of 6 months earlier. The sirens went off, and he was in Ashkelon, I think, or maybe Sderot.
Right.
And
They're very close.
when the sirens go off, he got 15 seconds to get out of harm's way, and he ran, but he ran essentially right into the bomb.
Oh, yeah.
And the bomb hit the ground and his leg at the same time and blew his leg off.
Right.
And he just told the story of, I almost died. I thank God for my life. And I'm not going to be negative. I'm going to look forward. I'm going to make the most out of my life. I'm not going to let the Palestinian, it was another Palestinian, Gazan, Hamas rockets. I'm not going to let them bring me down. This kid's temperament and charisma and strength of character, 18 years old, just lifted that whole room up to say, not going to be defeated by these people with this crazy warfare.
You know, we have these events all the time, Tom, and this is but one instance of the many times that I've been with you, been at these different events where you hear these different stories. And for all of you who think out there that it's not going to somehow affect you one way or another, it does. It's an integral part of our life, this whole, Muslim terrorism thing, and it touches every facet of so many people's lives. And it's a real threat, and that's the reason we're out here fighting that, is because these threats are real.
They are real.
And they're not some airy-fairy thing that religion of peace. That's a bunch of nonsense. It just isn't.
Yeah. And when we first started working together years ago, when the first project Tom gave me was his video interview of Thule and Cheryl Waltz, who lost their son, Daniel Cantor Waltz, in a suicide homicide attack in Tel Aviv. that Thule also was a victim of, although obviously he lived. And Tom said, watch this video and then call me back.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay? And I watched the video and I called him back. It took me 2 hours to call him back because I couldn't stop crying. And since then, look at all these incredible people that we've crossed paths with who are really eyewitnesses and victims and fighters against the most significant events of our lifetime. I mean,
It's
that is
amazing.
really
It really
profound when
is.
you're telling the story of Billy Vaughn and David Beamer meeting together in Tallahassee, and you're a part of that, and you knew them each independently. What are the chances of that? How many people experience that? And how many, there's too many people like that that we cross paths with.
And when we hear President Obama come out and say, like he said during the presidential campaign, it's, you know, Al-Qaeda is on the run. Bin Laden is
Decimated
decimated.
Al-Qaeda.
And I mean, we look at it, just such nonsense. It's such a lie. It was a lie 2 years ago. It was a lie a year ago. It was a lie 2 days
It was a lie
ago.
during the campaign. It's always a lie.
It's a lie, and it's and you look at this and you see it from that first-hand evidentiary perspective, and you're going, no, this is wrong. How can the mainstream media be supporting this man for this type of nonsense? And it goes on and on and on and on and on, and that's the reason we're here too.
And that's the reason why, folks, we beat up President Obama. The buck stops here. He wanted the job. He has the job. He's failing at the job as it relates to national security.
Yeah.
We have too many men and women dying. The country is in a mess right now. The bad guys have figured out how to create a soup of explosive liquid, dunk their clothes in the explosive liquid, let it dry, put their clothes on, and move around in an undetected fashion to blow up airplanes and trains and buses and malls and everything else. And because of this, we had to shut down over 20 embassies right now. Do you really think President Obama is respected by anybody in this world when it comes to fighting Islamic jihad? I mean, give me a break with this whole situation. We are in a mess. And if we don't turn around, and this hour is not to go figure out how to beat up these guys because we want to remember, what took place. But if we don't figure out how to avoid situations like Extortion 17, then we're doing an injustice to the United States, to our friends, to our families, to other warriors. If we don't figure out how to keep Muslims from flying airplanes into buildings, as I guarantee you, if you shut the TSA down and just put everybody on the honor system tomorrow, take a wild guess how many airplanes are going into buildings if that were the case.
Right.
Todd Beamer was one of the first warriors in this battle. Thule Woltz, he and his son were having lunch in Tel Aviv, and a 16-year-old Palestinian blew himself up, killed Thule's 16-year-old son, and blew Thule up, killed 11 people, 55
Daniel didn't even
injured.
die right away. I mean,
26 days he hung on, 25 days.
27, I think, yeah.
Yeah, some long number.
Yeah.
And if we can't figure out how to slow that or stop that, we're doing a disservice to people of the West all over the place. And the sad part is, people will say, in opposition to us, well, the Israelis, the Americans are asking for this. No,
Right.
the fact of the matter is,
Yeah.
Golda Meir said, remember what she said about,
Yeah, there will be peace
explain
when something like, I'm paraphrasing, there will be peace when you value the lives of your children more than the deaths of your children. Something
of
along
our children.
of our children, yeah,
Yeah.
something
Golda
along
Meir
those
said,
lines.
there'll be peace with the Arabs when they value the life of their children more than they hate the lives of our children.
Right.
And the other little concept that is very, very profound. If the Israelis to be peace in the Middle East right now, if the Palestinians and the Arabs put their guns down, there's peace. It's over with, there's peace. Peace in Israel. If Israel puts their guns down, what happens?
There's no more
There's
Israel.
no more
There's
Israel.
no more Israel.
Just
right.
let that sink in, folks. Let that sink in. If the Jewish people put their guns down, like they did on April 15th, 1948, the United Nations gave them this land, gave their land back
Gave
to
their
them,
land back to them. Yeah.
and told everybody, hey, this is a great moment in the history of the world.
Yeah.
1 second later, the Arabs start shooting guns.
How many armies?
Yeah, 7 or 8 armies. And
And they haven't stopped since.
But there was no Jewish army. There was no IDF.
Right.
There was farmers with
Plowshares.
22s and shotguns, and there was no armament, nothing. And they were getting destroyed, and they all joined together, and it's a miracle that they were able
It
to
is a miracle,
withstand
yeah. Right.
7 or 8 Arab armies that were real armies.
But
that makes no sense.
it also needs to be said here, if you're going to go back that far, a couple of things. First of all, it's not like there was actually peace in that region before the modern state of Israel was recreated. There was no peace in the Middle East in 1947. Okay? It didn't
Right.
just suddenly start to go to crap in 1948 when the Jews got their own country. Okay?
Right, it started back in the 1920s.
The imposed
British.
1949 armistice that was imposed on Israel after they were victorious.
Right.
Okay?
Oh, wait.
they,
the Jews
they
are
won
winning?
and they had
Nope.
to sue for
Time out,
peace.
time out.
Okay?
Yeah.
Those armistice lines that took away Jerusalem, that took away the holy spots for Israel, that carved up the country unnaturally, that made Israel divided and Jew-free in so many areas. Those are the map lines that the current
Right.
administration is trying to impose now as a condition for peace on the state of Israel. So I have to ask, between 1949 and 1967, when the Six-Day War was fought and Israel won, and Israel took back what they had lost in the 1949
Including
armistice.
the old city.
Okay. Was there peace in that interim period when those disputed areas were not in possession of Israel?
Nope.
No. So if you think about it
Zero.
that way, what is the argument about? The argument about is no Jews anywhere in the Middle East.
You know, I never thought
That's
this
what the argument is about. And these educated, enlightened Americans, North Americans, Europeans all over the world who are trying to impose a retarded settlement on a victorious and just people.
Well, they're not
Have it
supposed, the Jews
completely
are not supposed to win
backwards.
wars, okay?
Well-
You know, you can't win a war.
And
I
if
never thought-
if you try to put it like that to people, how do they?
They
you
don't
can't
think. Wait,
dispute it.
You just overthought this thing 10 times more than any Obama voter
ever
ever
even thought
considered.
about
It's
it.
called
in his-
anti-Semitism.
on his whole life. Yeah, that's
Well, I never thought that type of anti-Semitism could ever happen again after World War II, Hitler, and then until I realized, oh my God, it's happening again,
That's
and
right.
it's at a larger scale. That we just don't have the ovens yet. That's
Yeah.
the only difference.
But
well,
they,
there's one
but
big
they
oven
scream
cooking
for
in
them,
Iran
right?
now.
Yet, yeah.
yeah.
That's a problem.
They scream
Well,
for it.
see how this stuff, folks, at
This
35.
this is the mindset of the administration that denies
Oh, yeah.
justice for the families of those who were killed in Extortion 17. What was Joe Biden doing on TV the day after Osama bin Laden was killed and telling the world what happened and who did it?
Putting
And-
targets on their back.
Putting targets on
And-
their back.
And
Who was
half
that
sm-
imam who
and-
was praying over the dead bodies at the air base
Right.
in Afghanistan, damning
right?
our servicemen
Yep.
Yep.
to hell?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, the 35 minutes after 5 o'clock on Wednesday the 7th, that's when you're watching this, but we actually taped this show on Tuesday the 6th, and that's why we're We're talking about Extortion 17. And just to sum it up, and we'll move on, because we're doing a lot of work on Extortion 17. Osama bin Laden was killed on May 1st, 2011. Extortion 17 was shot down on August 6th, almost 90 days, a little more than 90 days, 2011. And there's a big question as to whether or not the shooting down of Extortion 17 was an inside job by the Taliban, because the 8 Afghan soldiers who were on Extortion 17 were not the 8 that were originally on the manifest.
That's right.
When you board a helicopter in wartime, everybody's got to be checked off. Your name's on a manifest. You're the ones that are allowed to go on. Well, there was a last-minute switch by 8 Afghanis. That raises a big question.
Yeah,
well, we got
they
a
were
3-month
swapped
gap.
out. Yeah.
So it looks like there could be an inside job payback because it was the same team within SEAL Team 6. Possibly. We don't know. Going from there, jumping to a year later, that was August 6th. A year later, September 11th, 2012. What happens on September 11th, 2012?
Maybe Benghazi.
Benghazi happens.
Yeah.
And as bad as Benghazi is, Extortion 17 has a precedent. When you start examining, studying what took place with 17, it starts to help understand what this government may have done or not done with the Benghazi situation. So all of these things are connected. We're going to continue to look deeply into the shoot down of Extortion 17.
And so is Congress. Congress,
Yeah,
Billy and
this is
Karen
great.
and
Yeah,
the other
that was
families
big.
have been
Captain
pushing,
Larry Bailey and his group
have been
They-
pushing for congressional hearings into Extortion 17, and it was announced just about a week ago that they are victorious,
And I heard
and
Dr.
they're gonna
Swire's
start
got a big
hearings.
article in
Yeah.
Watchdog Wire
Actually, just-
about it today.
Yesterday on the Sean Hannity show, Congressman Louis Gohmert was wanting to press ahead on this.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we get some big supporters
This
on
is
this.
He
great.
was there with you guys at the press conference.
Yeah, and we've
That's
had
Oh,
right,
yeah,
at the
the,
National Press Club.
in March of this year,
And
we were
you
at the
can see
National Press
that.
Club.
You can see that if you go to youtube.com/theunitedwest, and if you put, are you going to put it up on the screen?
We're getting it up. 250,000 people, I think, have watched it so
It's
far.
been over
Is it
300,000
over
people, I
300?
thought. Yeah,
Wow, it's a lot of people.
yeah.
I
You
wanna-
can see the full press conference.
My apologies to you 300,000 people. I did not have my compact with me at the press club in Washington, so my nose may not have been powdered properly.
Yeah, I got
Or
Tom.
is it properly powdered?
I got Tom a pink compact. It actually matches his
iPad.
his iPhone and his iPad. He doesn't have his iPad on the
today.
desk today, but it's kind of this color.
It is exactly that color. All right. Anyway, in March of this year, we videotaped a press conference put on by Freedom Watch. Larry Klayman and others, Boykin, a whole bunch of people were there. You got to watch that. 3 hours. It's riveting. Billy, Karen,
Yeah.
Alan West, Ace Lyons, everybody. And we're going to do something. So, Aaron Vaughn, thank you and the rest of SEAL Team 6 for your dedication, commitment, and giving it all for this United States. It's
Amen.
not forgotten, and we're here for you,
Yeah.
for the families. All right, time to move on. What are we doing? So,
Well, we should identify ourselves.
yes,
now, maybe.
WNN 1470. Tom Trento, CJ, the boys over there. We're also on TrentoVision.tv. And we want you to look at a bunch of websites.
Yep, here we go.
Here we go. Are you
We're
putting
on
them
the
up?
Website roll. Here we go.
And the winners
There they
are
TeaPartyCommunity.com.
awesome.
Bare Naked Islam.
He loves to say naked.
Naked.
Yeah.
We got an email
BizPac
from Bonnie
Review.
yesterday. BizPac Review, yeah.
BizPac
Watchdog
Review, great.
Swire.
Watchdogwire.com for those of
watchdogwire.com.
you listening on the radio.
Watchdog Wire.
And we're on iHeartRadio, WNN 1470 Boca Raton, Florida. We're on YouTube Live, and we're on TrentoVision, and also on theunitedwest.org. We're
And
just
you can
everywhere.
tweet.
And we tweet.
And you
At
can
the
tweet.
United
At
West.
the United
This
West.
is Sir Cheryl
And if you
Joy.
have questions, comments, suggestions, complaints, send them to Tom at
Speaking of,
TrentoVision.tv.
Yeah, tweet
And you
Tom.
can also donate securely at theunitedwest.org.
speaking of
Tax deductible.
listeners
people.
with comments and questions,
Uh-oh.
I believe we have
Phone
a
grab.
special one with
Well,
us.
yeah, the way that works is when we started the show on the 3rd of September last year, Labor Day, we were broadcasting out of the radio station in Boca Raton, WNN, and we'd go upstairs with all this equipment every day,
Right.
and we'd be live on the radio 3 hours, and we'd take a lot of calls. Remember all that?
Right.
Yeah, the salad days.
Vanda?
Verlanda.
Verlanda, you know, I hear her now, and others, and it was great. We had a blast. But in that, we are more
Double
a
Bob.
television production. We moved out April 1st of this year to our present studio, and we produce now a 1-hour television show that we simulcast on the radio. So we really don't have live callers anymore. That doesn't mean people don't figure out a way to communicate
That's right.
with us.
Uh-huh.
I got, because our phone number's out there, I got a phone call the other day. Somebody left a message, and I spoke to the person, and her experience was something that we wanted to share with the rest of our listeners on WNN and our viewers. And I think we have her on the phone right now, don't we?
Yes, we do.
So why don't you introduce her, Damon, our producer?
We have a listener of yours that contacted you, and her name is Ilan. And she is gracious enough to join us today.
Hi, Elon. It's Tom. Are you there?
Yes, thank you very much.
Hi, Ilan.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
Have you? We spoke a couple of days ago, and you told me how you found out about us, and I just wanted you to take a minute or two to share that with everyone. Have you had a chance since then to watch our show or listen to the show?
Yes, it's kind of all new to me because I commute and I never bothered to turn on the radio.
Right.
So I just happened to turn it on one day when I was going home, and I had it on 1470. I listened to Holly Meredith, you know, and it was very startling because I didn't even know that information was really true or not, whether she was just going half off. And so I started looking into it, and I kept listening. And then by accident, last Thursday, I was just, you know, listening afterward and wondering, what else is happening on the radio show?
Right.
And I got the radio talking about your Claire Lopez, and I was really quite taken aback because I'm just one of those people who drive, who I guess all my friends are in the same world I am. They're very busy because of the economic circumstances. They really don't have time. They say, well, what's the good of hearing all this bad things? What's it going to do? Well, I said, well, if a termite is eating your platform and you're standing on a platform that's no longer going to be there, what are you going to do?
Right.
Well, what
Good
can we
point.
do?
Good
And
analogy.
you know, that's kind of something I'm concerned about. But when she started explaining about the Koran and so on, I started asking some people over the weekend. In fact, I talked to one of the cashiers. I talked to all the strangers I run into. I said, what do you think? Oh, I have some Islam friends. She said, Muslim. They're really nice. They said the jihads are just an exception to the thing. And not all Muslims are like that. And then I continued to listen. You know, I heard about Claire saying that in the Koran, the latest is the exact, and the nicer stuff that they said earlier about being peaceful is all just not relevant. You're supposed to be actually
Right, but
at war.
I don't know if I missed it or not. I had to check something here. You were driving in your car when you heard Claire. You were so riveted that you pulled over. Did you say that yet?
Yes. Well, what happened was I heard it, but I didn't know how to get a hold of you, so I had to go and look at something because there was no numbers or anything. I just heard your name, so I said, I've got to get a copy of it because I want to send it to my friends. So I appreciate you sending me an email so I can send that link to all
How
my
did you
email. I can email to all my friends.
find our number? How'd you find our number?
You know, that was really strange. I had to go on my smartphone and look around, and I think I called WNN. I actually called WNN. I said, you know that show that comes on after Holly Meredith? What number can I call them on? Because I didn't know what number to call. Because I don't think I heard your number.
Okay, great. Well, you tracked us down. We're glad you did. It's a great story, and there are a lot of people like Elon that are listening and picking something up, and it's good having Holly lead into us.
Well, speaking of Holly,
yeah. Tell
Elon,
that story.
You'll like this story. Is how
Right?
how Elon came about to
Tell her who you are.
I'm J. Mark Campbell. I'm the communications director here at the United West. And, and I'm constantly like passing out business cards to people. Yeah, listen to the show, listen to the show, listen to the show, right? And I pull up to this light over on Dixie Highway. And as I'm pulling up to the light, it had these Tea Party stickers and everything on the back bumper. I go, hey, this is a prime candidate. So the light's red. Her window is down. My window is down. So I have a business card laying right there. I go, hey, listen to our show. I think you'll like it. And
you threw it. She was on your right, so you had to throw it past your passenger seat.
I had to throw it, through her passenger seat.
Fortuitous throw.
And she goes, thank you. And I, never gave it two thoughts afterwards.
You just took off.
It just took off. And then find out like a month later, says, yeah, this crazy guy came up to me, light through his business card in the window.
And she decided to start her own radio show.
So she took it as a sign from God or something like that, I guess. But it's quite funny story, I thought. But
that is
it's
funny.
Very
so
cute.
Elon,
and it's so typical of your experiences, Mark, I have to tell you.
I'm a wingnut half the time. So.
Elon, to complete the circuit here, it was Mark, who's in our studio right now, who gave Holly the card, which led to her being on the show, which led to you listening to her, which led to Cuckoo Cachoo. We're all a big walrus.
And now 50,000 people and the 5 million people in the area, potential listeners, are listening to you.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we thank you for tuning in, and you know how to reach us now if we could ever be of help. And whatever you need, we're here to help. And it's a good motivation for other people to keep listening to.
I just want to say that, first of all, I want to thank you for this real information. I think a lot of people, I'm sending this to a lot of people, and I was wondering if you want to take on some of those Muslim people who are friends and peaceful and have them go on the show and explain what part of the Quran do they actually believe in, and how does that really work? Because according to the Quran, you don't get to paradise unless you kill a whole bunch of people. Is that true? You have to have...
Well,
it's one way to get there.
Right.
Yeah, they won't come on if you ask them, but absolutely, if you want to talk to them and invite them on the show and let them get in touch with us, we'd love to have them come on, and we'll ask them questions, just have a conversation. But because they won't come on, we have our own Muslim imam in here. I'd like you to meet Imam Abdullah You Fool. Say hello to Elon.
Hello, Elon. How are you today? And thank you for being a listener of the Trento Show.
Awesome radio program. I never thought, I would be listening to radio, but I'm telling my friends they got to do is stop calling people on the phone when they're driving home and listen.
All right. Good stuff.
Thank you very much.
And you... How much of an infidel she
And you
is,
know what? We should say, and this is something Tom says all the time, in case you didn't know it, we don't hate Muslims. We don't want to kill Muslims, but we do hate totalitarian Islam.
To put it
and we do
to put it in parallel is, we don't hate Germans, we just hate Nazis. Okay,
yeah,
it's a
there you go. That's very good.
There's no parallel between the ideology and the people.
Right.
The ideology is abhorrent.
Yeah.
The people.
Well, I have a question for you. If the United States would stop letting the amnesty program go through and letting every Tom, Dick, and Harry come in here and really find out what their true motive is, because I came to this country and I didn't speak any English, and I came here for freedom, equality. All people are created equal and given the chance to have freedom and speak and have what we want. If these people come here not with that in mind, they should be sent home, because really they should be home enjoying whatever they like there, celebrating their life here.
What a great
What a
idea.
concept.
Yeah, well, we're with you on that.
100 percentile.
Yeah.
We are blowing in the wind. All right, we're gonna have to let you go now. We got to move on. Thanks, Elon.
Thanks, Elon. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very
we're here
much,
to help.
Infidel.
You take care.
Okay, bye.
All right, that was Elon.
That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
that was
little
great. That
story.
was wonderful.
She, we're getting a lot of that. A lot
Yeah,
of
you need
emails.
to get me some new cards that I can pass out.
So you can
when
tell
I
what-
tell
That's a good
people,
idea too.
you know
Maybe
when
I
I-
should get me some new cards.
when
what?
I would
know
like
I
to
have
get
a
some
box
cards
of
as
cards
well.
for you.
Hey, I got an idea.
TrentoVision?
Yeah, it has your
need 'em
name on
tonight.
them.
Yeah.
I need them tonight.
Okay.
No, I gave it to you when I
Oh,
was
no, they're
moving.
gone.
It's
They're
in that
gone.
bag.
Well, you
No,
gotta-
it was in the bag with
How
the paper
about
yeah, yeah.
cups.
let's do this
Let's
after
find
the
it.
show?
Oh, okay.
Since wasting, the valuable 60.
Where's my card? You were supposed to give me my cards, Lucy.
Oh, Lucy.
Well, hey, did you make them out of paper? Since we do have a new
And
technique.
honey, did you take out the garbage yet?
That's just why our new technique does work of actually tossing them in windows to passerby cars.
Oh,
We
yes,
make 'em
that
have
does work,
airplanes,
yeah.
so.
No, because when you come across people in like at the grocery store, or if you're in a restaurant and you're
yep.
talking to the people next to you, and they say, "What do you do?" And
Yeah, here you go. Listen
well,
to the show.
You
first
wouldn't
of all,
have
you
used
don't
that
want to
card last
tell
night.
anybody.
You wouldn't have used the card last night.
It was your Muslim friend. CJ got lucky last
What
night.
happened
with a
last
Muslim
night?
lesson. CJ
Hey,
got lucky
watch
with a Muslim-
yourself.
Oh, wait. We only have a few minutes left in the
Teasing
show.
CJ.
Is this a story you think we can get into now about CJ's
No.
private life last night?
No, that's going to be a special.
No, I
It'll be
think
a
it is. Now,
Can I go
For the
home
record-
now?
for the record, the United West was duly represented
Yes,
at,
we were.
at a presentation by Dr. Jeff Zipper on Obamacare
Right.
last night at the Republican Jewish Coalition meeting. 50% of the crew was there. The
Yeah.
other 50% was, I don't know.
We're MIA.
But we went. It was very, very interesting. And Obamacare is a disaster. And we all know that's a disaster.
It's a steamroller gonna roll over you.
You'll
And-
have
Real
to pass it to
soon.
see what's in it.
The scary part for me, who's done a lot of work years ago on ethical government and all of this, and as a pro-lifer, was very involved in the bioethical issues of abortion, infanticide, euthanasia. They are completely connected. And we were arguing 25, 30 years ago, if as a society we adopt a pro-abortion mentality to remove a human being who's inconvenient, guess what, folks? We're going to do the same thing
That's right.
when the situation calls for it on the other
On
end
the
of the
other end of
spectrum.
life.
And last night, Stanley Tate and others were talking about the fact that the policies in Obamacare are
Yeah.
basically leading toward euthanasia when
Oh,
a
yeah.
panel says, sorry, you can't have that stent. And we got to check this out. You can't use your own money to go.
You can't use your own
Money
money
to go-
to
go
pay for
beyond the
it,
system.
to go outside of the system.
That's
That-
revolution.
that-
If that happens, that's revolution.
I have not heard
Yeah,
of that part of
yeah.
it. That's what surprises
That's
me.
something that came out last
But
night.
unaccounted-
But this is not an Obamacare discussion.
I know.
This is saying when that ended, I went home. She didn't.
Oh.
Let's find out.
No
Let's find out
way.
where you went.
Just to prove that we
I
do
went-
I
not.
can't
home.
believe you did
Just
this.
to prove we do not hate Muslims. Go ahead,
No,
CJ.
no.
I went home. Where did you go last night? Where'd you go last night?
I went to have something to eat nearby
That's
where
right.
our meeting was, and I was talking to
At the falafel house, yes.
Could be soon if we don't do our work properly.
and I was talking to some people about Obamacare, and then afterwards we switched to talk about a different subject,
To Islamic Jihad. How did that
to
happen?
Islamic Jihad.
Was the fellow you were speaking with a Muslim?
Yeah, one of them was. Yeah,
He was.
Okay.
yeah.
Was he a Mino,
A Mino.
a Muslim in name only, or just kind of a how.
Well, he says that that he doesn't really go to he doesn't go to a mosque like every week or anything like that.
Sunni
So-
Shia?
Because there are no Shia mosques down
Very-
here.
And,
Shia? Shia Muslim?
I think so. From
Iranian?
yeah, Iraq.
Oh, Iraq.
Well, it
Yeah.
could be right now. Who knows
Yeah.
anymore?
Yeah.
So-
So we were talking about current. We kind of went from Obamacare to totalitarianism, to Islamic jihad and current events and everything else.
Okay.
And I think he would be a very good guest on the show, actually.
So give us some of the juice.
Yeah, come on.
So-
Where's the good part?
Come on. People are listening on the edge of their seats
I
driving
know.
their car.
We have a graphic of him right now. And if I could pull it up on the right.
You got a
No.
listener, Elon.
No, but I can't.
There he is.
No,
Is that the
that's
guy you
not
met with?
nice. That's not right. You guys are not nice.
For you driving, we just showed a picture of a Islamic jihadi in full jihad mode.
I'm never coming to work early again, and you guys conspire against me like
This was just off. There's no conspiracy whatsoever.
You had you were in a conversation. And
Right.
What's the?
Well, he was trying to explain to me how Islam is a religion of peace, and it's
Very true.
peaceful, and that it's a misguided minority within the religion who does terrorism and jihad, and they're being led astray by corrupt political leaders and bad imams. And
Was
also,
he
he
part of
said there
CARE?
was no such and there's no such thing as Sharia.
There's no such
There's
thing.
no
Saying
such
it's a
thing
Sharia.
as Sharia. Yeah.
So now,
Excuse me, how can
now,
wait a second. What
Go
does he
ahead.
mean there is no such thing as Sharia?
Well, he wasn't really able to explain that.
That.
Well, can I tell you that your friend, shall we call him, has no idea of what he speak?
Yeah,
Or
he's-
wait a minute.
He's a Muslim in name only.
Yeah, or
I don't
he's
know
got
that.
other
I don't know
stuff.
that. His mother teaches at an Islamic center, and he's very
All
well
right,
educated.
all right.
Or
Check.
is he
No.
just laying it down to
Yeah. Doing the whole thought.
doing a whole trying to get along with a nice lady, and see where that leads? Was he doing that?
Oh no, nothing
no?
like that.
Nothing like that.
No.
Guys are guys. I mean,
No.
okay.
No.
All
Nothing
right, so
like that.
So now here he is telling you, caca. Okay, and you're sitting there with a straight face,
Right,
or were you
or
going,
you-
"What the hell are you talking
Well,
about, Ahmed?"
I was being very straight-faced about it. He was very sincere and articulate in his convictions. And sometimes I looked at him and I said, "You got to be kidding," and I would tell him why. And sometimes I just listened and said, "Gee, I didn't know that," or "That's an interesting point of view or perspective that you have."
So do a little
He's
key
lived
on
and
it.
traveled in the Middle East, and so he has
Spycraft, doing a
a
little
different
spycraft.
perspective, on what's it like to be in Saudi Arabia or Kuwait or the Emirates versus Iraq. What's the role of the United States in that part of the world, and should we be there or shouldn't we be there? So these are all legitimate things to talk about.
Actually, your whole experiences brings up a great point. If you go into a room with all Muslim, even jihadis, non-jihadis, or whoever, you're going to go in there. You're not going to be all rah, 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 hit him over the head, carrying a saber. You're going to try to, okay, well, this is what, I think it is. It's the same way the Muslims do when they come into our community, just like you would in a military fashion. You're going to send in agents to get along with people.
It's intelligence. It's an intelligence operation.
gathering.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well,
Okay, we've got a few
I don't
seconds
know.
left.
I don't know if he
What's the
is
lesson?
or he isn't.
No.
What is the
that's not the
lesson
point.
for
Yeah.
our audience? From that experience,
Well, from that experience, I would say that you should be somewhat educated about what you think Islam is. So when somebody's talking to you about it, you can respond intelligently and challenge them of yes or no, you agree, you disagree.
in a friendly,
in
professional
a
manner.
very polite and congenial way. And there was no.
Did he show you his?
They're
sword?
always friendly when they're the minority.
Did he show
They're
you
much
his
friendlier
sword?
when they're the minority.
Did he show you his sword?
The jihad. side.
Okay. All right. Anyway, no
No,
sword.
nothing like that.
Part 2 tomorrow. CJ's
No
going to
way,
tell us.
I'm not coming back.
Because of the full intimate
No
details
way.
All right, we got to
of all her
go.
life
Goodbye,
story.
everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We'll see you tomorrow.